Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Power Talk with Archana. From a job seeker to notice me job seeker, from a mediocre resume to a perfect resume, from a conscious interviewee to a confident interviewee. Where do you fit in? Let's find out. James is a part of my professional network based in Chicago, United States. He spearheads manpower and recruiting program at HireWell. His expertise lies in managing customized recruiting programs in areas of technology, human resources, digital experience, marketing and sales, finance and accounting, real estate, and lots more. He knows corporate recruitment like the back of his hand. James meets many people and job seekers in a day and helps them fine tune their approach to get their dream job, as he claims to make people a better job seeker. Let's find out from James. Hello, James. How are you doing?
Great. That was perfect, by the way. You nailed it. So appreciate the intro.
Great. Happy to have you with us, James. James, tell us, you are the recruitment guy. Let's start from the entry level. I'm sure you handle all kind of profiles, the mid-level, the senior level management, all. But if you were to talk of the entry level, job seekers, what would you want them to do to, have that perfect resume, perfect approach, perfect everything to get them their dream job?
So it's a good question. As you said, we work with people all different levels. Ultimately, everyone's job search should be run kind of the same, but there's one big advantage that junior job seekers have, in my view. It's that whether it's in LinkedIn or in the real world, I think that people in general like helping others. And if you ask people for advice, they tend to want to help you. But people really go above and beyond, go another mile for people who are more junior in their careers. I'm sure maybe you've seen, like, if someone who's maybe just getting their career started asks you a question, you just kind of feel compelled to answer and kind of interact with them. I think it's kind of an innate human nature where, we want to help the next generation out. And I think that at the same time, a lot of junior job seekers, it's not LinkedIn in particular, isn't that popular yet in that generation, people just in school.
Yeah.
But the times where I've seen people who are kind of getting their career started, just new grads, use LinkedIn, interact with people, they've had a lot of success. Like the things they post about, things they talk about, even when it's one-to-one kind of interactions, they get way more engagement, I think, than a lot of other people. So if there's one thing that I think junior job seekers should leverage more, it's using LinkedIn and proactively networking with people, asking more senior people for advice. I think it's a much better way of engaging with people and talking with people and getting them to respond than just applying to jobs.
Right, very right. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think it's also important for the new job seekers and the entry level job seekers to maybe engage themselves in writing blogs or something and put it on their LinkedIn pages. You want to get noticed. You want people to know what is your thought process, where do you come from. How would you like to handle situations or things that the areas that really interest you? You should start putting them in the form of articles and keep pushing them, publishing them on LinkedIn. It just, you are trying to create an environment for yourself for recruiters to notice you and know where you come from. Wonderful, James. I think that's great. So we've spoken about the entry level. How about people who are experienced? See, writing a resume in itself is an art. So what would you suggest to somebody like that who's already experienced? How should they translate their experience into a good resume?
It's a good question. I think one thing that most job seekers don't do enough of is leveraging their peer network. And a lot of times, if you were asked somebody, "Hey, translate your experience, put it on a resume," you're too close to what you do on a daily basis, and I think inherently you lack a certain amount of kind of objectivity. The one thing I always advise people to do is talk to people in your field, whether they're peers or, more importantly, hiring managers, people who actually hire that job you want. And ask them, like, what do you want to see in a resume? What do you want to see when you bring people on board, or what experience do you think is important? Make sure that experience is translated on there, because that's the feedback you need to write a good resume. Plus, on top of that, the thing that's interesting is if you were to again, we're kind of asking for advice, talking to hiring managers in your field. And the ask isn't, "Hey, are you looking for a job?" But, "Hey, trying to make a career transition. Could you give me some advice on what you look for in job seekers?" That's also, so you're getting help on the resume, but it's also an interesting way to start a dialogue with someone potentially. But that's the first thing I do. The second thing I do is you have to make sure the keywords are there. So if there's job descriptions you're looking at, those job descriptions are written by hiring managers or HR people because they're looking for A, B, and C. That's what they want in a candidate.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing the same things, all the jobs you're interested in, like you have to put those things in your resume because that's how they're searching for resumes, the same way you're searching for a job description. So making sure like mirror the same type of language that the person who wrote the description is looking for, because you want to make sure you're popping up in whatever search they do.
Right. I think that's very important. The keywords really play an important role. You definitely don't want your resume to be in their data bank. So it has to be very well worded. There has to be a right, the keywords need to be there on your resume so that, they get highlighted and your profile gets shortlisted. Very right. Also, I feel it's important for people to, since you are already on LinkedIn or any other platform, try and find people who are already working and are in your connect in that company. A reference is always good. That recommendation is always good. So that would be a great effort from your end. After all, the recruiter would love to know if you already know somebody from that company, somebody's, you're giving that reference. I think that also adds a lot of value to your resume. Great, James. Tell me, other than, of course, the keywords and, making sure they are involving themselves in writing blogs. I mean, what do you think, what if somebody has been, laid off all of a sudden? I mean, they don't tell anybody. You're laid off, you're laid off. You're not required. Services are not required. They're not required. That's about it. What person should do at that point in time? What next for him?
So a layoff situation is a little different. I mean, the job search, you want to run that exactly the same, but you need to make sure you don't underestimate the mental toll it can take. And that's something I think gets lost a lot of times, is that I've talked to people who absolutely hated their job. They wanted to leave, but when they suddenly didn't have it, it still like caused a lot of stress in their life. You know what I mean? There's the financial stress. There's also the unexpected nature of it. And before you can start a search, you need to make sure that whatever you need to do mentally to get in a good place, you get there. If you harbor resentment or negativity or whatever, so when you finally start talking to people, if that bubbles through, your interviews aren't going to go well. Your outreach isn't going to go well. So take a day, take a few days, come to terms with the fact that, kind of what your situation is, do whatever you need to do to get yourself into a more positive mental state, because that's what you're going to need to kind of represent yourself well. And the second thing is, I think that some people get, with all those emotions, there's some people get embarrassed. Some people don't want to tell other people about it, but I think that you want to tell your closest core network, your friends, your family, your closest personal colleagues as soon as possible. Like I always advise in general, you want to have your story figured out, your narrative, like you have your pitch. So when you start talking to people, but before you even get there, the people who you're most comfortable with and your tightest kind of core group, let them know what happened. Let them know that you're looking, because they may have options. Like one, they might be able to provide emotional support. Two, they might have some good job leads for you quick. Like you might have more opportunities than you realized. And you want to make sure kind of you get that stuff, and the sooner the better. So.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful thing to do. I mean, this is very important. You need not feel shameful about it. It's absolutely all right. You're not the only one, first of all. And even if you are, that's all right. We need to get the ball rolling. So discuss with people, your near and dear ones. It's important because they can maybe connect you to somebody who can give you a good option. I think that's absolutely all right. And of course, you should also take a day off, few days off, get back to your feet, be the normal self. It's important because see, if your mind is all the time feeling boggled, then you are just not going to make it. If you win over your insecurities, your instabilities, then half the battle is won. And that's what is required, because you need to win it all. So to do that, it's important to stay calm and gather yourself. That is most important, and that's absolutely all right. You need not be shameful about it. Great. I think that is wonderful. Tell me something, James. Yes, we've spoken about so many things, but all said and done with, the person doesn't have the job now, right? So give us few pointers that in no way the recruiter misses that profile. What are the things they need to make sure, be it the entry level, the mid level, the senior level, whatever, all said and done with, the person is without a job today. So what all things one should do? Give us 10 pointers to make sure the person stands out and you can get him that job.
Okay, 10, that's a lot. I'll do what I can here. Um, so
Yeah,
I think first off, you want to understand like which recruiters you want to notice you. You know, there's recruiters, there's
yeah,
internal recruiters, there's external recruiters, there's people in different industries. So you want to, and I always advise people to start with what companies are you interested in? What organizations are doing things that places you want to work? Don't get so bogged down with who has jobs posted, but worry more about, okay, what companies do you feel passionate about? What companies, challenges are solving interesting challenges. And because positions, even if they don't have anything open today, they may have something soon. And those are the hiring managers and the recruiters of those companies are the people you want to make sure you get noticed by. I think so. If you want to start with LinkedIn, I mean, there's a few different things you want to do. So first off, you have to have a punchy headline section. A lot of people default to their name and their company and their title. But the thing is, like, everyone's names, it's not very memorable. You know what I mean? There's how many
yeah,
Joe Smiths are there in the world? You know what I mean? Or how many developers at a company? You know, it's very, you want to make sure you have something that stands out. And that's what's different between a LinkedIn profile and a resume is like LinkedIn profiles
yeah,
should be a little more personable. They should be written in the first person. I think that my LinkedIn profile, and you kind of mentioned before, is what's my headline? Like, I help people become better
yeah.
job
You help.
seekers.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's memorable, and I only started doing that recently because someone else told me that, and I noticed that like everyone on LinkedIn who I recognize, like their names might run together in my mind, but the people who have headlines that stand out that are written a little more personally, and then also make it something that's kind of more fun too. Like the other part of my headline is like I'm the #3 ranked sarcastic commenter on LinkedIn, because I like to
yeah,
tell jokes on LinkedIn,
yeah,
and
yeah,
so your headline is kind of the first key thing. The second thing, this is kind of getting back to what I was talking about with resumes, is just keywords. I did a webinar recently to kind of show job seekers. I don't think people realize that LinkedIn's recruiter package, which recruiters use to find people, is extremely granular. You can search on any kind of Boolean keyword string. You can search on any location, industry, experience level. There's a million different ways you can kind of chop up a search. And recruiters' first challenge is a lot of times if they're looking for if I'm looking for a software developer in Chicago, there might be thousands of results that pop up. Like, it's like you have to really,
absolutely.
in order to make it a manageable search from a recruiter perspective, you have to get more granular, so you have to add more keywords. But a lot of
Yeah,
people don't add extra keywords to their profile. They think they just did their name, their title, very basic stuff. So when recruiters start making their search more granular, those people who actually have those skills don't always pop up. So you want
yeah,
to make sure that you get very detailed, the same way you would a resume in terms of the type of keywords you're putting in there. Um,
yeah,
Besides that, I mean, but I think the other thing too is just not worrying entirely about LinkedIn. You want to, one, you want to make sure you're building relationships with people on an ongoing basis, not when you need to look. So whether it's recruiters or hiring managers and people reach out to you, start a dialogue.
yeah.
You never know when it's going to be the situation where you're the one who's laid off, or you never know in a situation where something your workplace becomes not a good place anymore, or you're just ready for something new. And it's easier to have those relationships when you've already done kind of groundwork ahead of time and building them.
True, true.
Um, and the other thing too is I'm the first one to say you don't want to rely just on recruiters. You need to build all your
Yeah.
professional network and with hiring managers, with colleagues, and the more people more importantly, the more people who know you, the easier it'll be ongoing to find your next job.
Well, they are quite impactful. I'm sure if job seekers out there may put their best foot forward and use all of these, I'm sure they're definitely going to make a difference out there, which is very important. Lovely. Thanks a lot, James. Thanks a lot for speaking to my viewers and giving them these wonderful pointers. And thanks a lot for coming on board. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Enjoyed it as in it. They were really good, insightful pointers, and I'm sure we've not thought about taglines. And I think these are very important things that one can really work on. Great. Thank you so much, James. Thanks a lot. Stay connected and stay safe.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
If you're into marketing with 25 years of experience, people will definitely find you. But if you have a tagline that says, awarded Best CEO 2020, people will not miss you at all. You will definitely get noticed. That's the magic of having a tagline. Keep exploring more options. Be a good job seeker. I wish you all the best and stay tuned for more.